Let's talk about 5 whiskeys that are rumored to be releasing in the next year. Hey guys, welcome back to Whiskey on the West Coast. My name is Matt, and today I wanted to talk to you about rumored whiskey releases, or ones that are all but confirmed by distilleries, but we don't have firm release dates for yet, at least I'm not aware of. Now, some of these have been confirmed as coming out from the distillery, but we just don't know when. Others, we've seen labels entered for approval with government boards, and some might be more rumor than anything else. But I wanted to talk to you about 5 that have me really excited that should hopefully be coming out within the next year. So let's get to the list. Let's count down our top 5. Kicking off our list at number 5 is going to be the Holyrood Distillery inaugural single malt Scotch whiskey release. Now, in 2019, the Holyrood Distillery became the first malt whiskey distillery in the city of Edinburgh in almost 100 years. The last one closed in 1925. And they're a distillery that's known for experimentation, in particular with different roasted malts, with different yeast strains. They've used crystal malt, chocolate malt, and both brewers and distillers' yeasts, different variations. This is something that's commonplace already in brewing, but it's not so commonplace in distilling. Their penchant for experimentation also extends to historic recipes, such as what they did with the Bub Project in collaboration with the Liquid Antiquarians, a great YouTube channel involving Dave Broom. When I visited in June, I got to try their 2-year-old malt spirit, and it was really impressive. And while doing so, I was told that the inaugural release from the Holyrood Distillery should take place sometime in the fall of 2023. It sounded to me like they were inclined to say near September or October in 2023. It'll be interesting to see what they choose to release as their first impression on whiskey drinkers. Will it be something like more experimental, like what they've done so far? Or will it be something that should be more indicative of their own distillery signature style? And maybe experimentation is already their distillery signature style. Either way, I remain excited for the inaugural release from the Holyrood Distillery, which is why they are number 5 on this list. Next up on this list is the Bruichladdich Octomore 14.3 release. Now, this is a confirmed release for the fall of 2023, but again, we don't know exactly when. Typically for my market in British Columbia, Canada, Octomore releases come out in the fall, most specifically November during the Fall Spirits release. However, the reason why we know about this release isn't that the details have been released by the distillery, but rather it's because they had to enter the label to be approved by the TTB in the United States. And as such, those labels are now public record. And so you can actually see what they submitted to be approved. And the first thing that you'll see if you take a look at it, and we'll try to put the picture up on the screen here so you can take a look yourself. But you'll notice that there's a big shakeup in the look of these labels. It's not the typical Octomore drab, dark, ominous, and mysterious sort of color scheme. It's a lot brighter. So that's kind of interesting. It's an interesting move by them, but obviously we're not most concerned with what's on the outside of a bottle, but rather what's on the inside. And for me, I'm always most excited about the 0.3 releases of Octomore because those are the Islay barley variants. And I just find them really robust and oily, viscous. And I find a lot of really interesting characteristics in those whiskeys. And I think it's really cool that they're inextricably linked to Islay itself being grown on the island. So I think that's really cool. On top of this, the cask type is a little bit of a mystery right now. It's a mixed maturation Octomore using both ex-bourbon casks and what they're calling FOC casks. Now, FOC, I think, is going to stand for French oak casks. And I'm going to assume that these are ex-red wine French oak casks. However, it is possible that they're virgin oak French oak casks. However, the reason why I think they'd be more likely ex-red wine casks is that the virgin oak is usually reserved for the 0.4 Octomore releases, not the 0.3s. So that's why I'm assuming that. The other thing that's really exciting about this release is this is the first 0.3 Islay barley release from Octomore over the 200 ppm threshold since the Octomore 8.3, and this release is going to be coming in at 214.2 ppms. So I'm really excited for that because obviously the whole point of Octomore is that it's super heavily peated whiskey. Now, quick disclaimer on that. Of course, you see these giant ppm levels. That doesn't mean that it's necessarily smokier than Lafroy 10 cask strength, because these readings, these measurements are taken pre-distillation. They're taken by the maltsters who are malting the barley for Bruichladdich. So what you have in your glass isn't 214.2 ppm. It's something less than that. It's been reduced through cut points, through distillation, through a whole bunch of different processes. But what we know is it's going to be super heavily peated. And I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the shakeup with the label redesign. I'm excited to see what they do with these FOC casks. It's still a mystery, and I can't wait for them to announce what's coming. That's number 4. Sandwiched into the middle of our countdown list here is the inaugural release from Isla's newest distillery, and that would be the inaugural release from the Ardnaho single malt Scotch whiskey distillery. Now, in 2018, the first new spirit flowed off the stills at Isla's 9th and newest distillery. Ardnaho being located just down the road from the Bunnahabhain distillery in the northeast of the island, with just spectacular views of the Paps of Jura and the channel that separates Isla from Jura. We visited in June, and it was a spectacular location and a really gorgeous distillery. I really wish we had more time to explore it when we did. Now, by the time we hit October of this year, 2023, some of that whiskey will be hitting the 5-year age mark. And it feels like one of the worst kept secrets in the industry that Ardnaho hopes to have its inaugural release launched at the next festival, the Festival 2024. Even though this is a brand new distillery, it comes with some pedigree, and this is one of the reasons why I'm excited about it. The people behind Hunter Lang's independent bottlings and blends are behind the creation of Ardnaho. What's more, they had Jim McEwen of Bruichladdich and Bowmore fame before that come on as a consultant early in the process. On top of this, and the sheer fact that it's a brand new distillery on Islay, one of my favorite whiskey producing regions in Scotland, if you needed another reason to get excited, you could look at the fact that Ardnaho is the only distillery on Islay that is going to be using worm tubs, which is a type of condenser known for making a very characterful spirit. Count me as one of those that's hoping to have enough luck to find a bottle of their inaugural release. It might not be easy, but I'm sure it'd be worth it. Number 3, the inaugural release of single malt Scotch whiskey from the Ardnaho distillery. Coming in number 2 on this list is a release that's almost more hopeless rumors, conjecture, and a wing and a prayer than anything else. And that is the rumor of a age-stated Bruichladdich returning to the lineup. And not just that, but an 18-year-old age-stated Bruichladdich. So Bruichladdich 18-year-old core range release is the rumor. Now, this past January, I started to hear a rumor of an age-stated release returning to the Bruichladdich lineup. And I'm talking about the unpeated Bruichladdich Spirit lineup. We have the Port Charlotte 10 with the big age statement. We have some Bruichladdich smaller age statements and fine prints on like the Isla Bar, the organics, but nothing big and bold that proclaims the age statement to the whiskey-loving public that's walking by and seeing it on shelves. Now, we would all probably expect that it would be a return to the 10-year-old, the last age statement they dropped in favor of the classic Laddie non-age statement release. Maybe if we're lucky, they would jump up to a 12-year-old release. That would be amazing. But instead, again, the word was that they're planning an 18-year-old release. And I believe largely ex-bourbon was the rumor I heard, instead of relying heavily on wine casks. Now, that might just be a bridge too far. Maybe that's pushing this rumor past its bounds. But I've heard this spoken of 2 occasions, and it just has the Bruichladdich fanboy in me way too excited. No promises. This could all be some hilarious joke on me, and someone else on the other side of this video is laughing in my face. But the hope of this release has me excited. That's why it's so high up this list. I'm just hoping that this excitement gets fulfilled, which is why the potential of a Bruichladdich age-stated release, an 18-year-old age-stated release, is number 2 on this list. If you made it this far in this list, I just want to thank you first off for watching, for clicking and viewing this video. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing, liking, or commenting down below. It really helps with the video and actually having YouTube go ahead and pick it up and push it in their algorithm, which helps keep me making whiskey content. So again, thank you for that. Also, if you could comment down below, what whiskey release are you most anticipating for the coming year? It could be one on this list, or it could be something else completely. I'd be really interested to hear what you have in your mind and what you're hoping to keep some cash aside for. Other than that, let me know also if you enjoy this type of video. If so, I'll try to come up with another one in due time. Let's get to number 1. Topping out our list at number 1 is the Springbank 10-year-old Palo Cortado cask. Now this will be the second installment in the Springbank Sherry Wood series, and shaping up to be a killer in my opinion, and not just on the wallet. So again, this is the second release in this series. It's 10-year-old Palo Cortado cask. It comes from mixed maturation. This entire series actually comes from mixed maturation. It wasn't entirely matured in sherry casks. However, this one consists of 2013 Springbank distillate that spent 6 years in ex-bourbon casks before being transferred over into Palo Cortado sherry casks in 2019 for an additional 4 years of maturation. So why am I excited? Well, it's high strength Springbank 10-year-old in a cask type that I've never experienced Springbank in before. It's also a cask type that's known to be sort of a cross between two of my favorite cask types, Oloroso sherry and Amontillado sherry. Now, I had a fantastic 12-year-old cask strength Springbank Amontillado release at the Washback Bar at Springbank, and it still haunts my dreams to this day. So the first release in this series was the Springbank 10PX. You may have had that. You may have really enjoyed it. While good, it didn't really inspire me to go through the lengths that others did to hunt down a bottle. And in my market, when it came out, it immediately began getting flipped for $500 plus on secondary, and I never even got a sniff at retail. What makes me think I'll be any closer to getting a bottle this time? Well, nothing really. In fact, I probably have even less of a chance of getting a bottle of this Palo Cortado release. It has been multiple years of being blanked on Springbank special release bottles for me, and I don't expect that to change at all. My hope is that I'll have an opportunity to taste this release in a tasting, much like I tasted the Springbank 10PX last time. And if it proves spectacular, at that point, I'll start hunting down a bottle by other means. And by other means, I do mean auctions or the dreaded secondary. I'll work my channels and hopefully find my way into a bottle if it is really that good. Oh, and in case you're wondering what the future holds for the rest of this series, we should see the Amontillado cask, followed by a Fino cask, and then the series is finished off by a Manzanilla cask, which is another one of my favorite sherry types. Well, there it is, guys. Those are my 5 most anticipated whiskeys that should be coming out to us within the next year or so. Once again, like, share, subscribe, keep watching the videos. I really love the support that I'm receiving from you, and comment down below what you're excited to have come out in the future. Until next time, guys, from the West Coast, Slanch.